Ladies, have you ever wondered why some women seem to have men eating out of the palm of their hands with just a simple text message, while others send paragraph after paragraph and get left on read? Today, I'm going to reveal the 5 most powerful text messages that older women use to capture a man's attention instantly, and more importantly, the psychology behind why these messages work so effectively. I'm going to show you exactly what makes these texts so irresistible, the specific psychological triggers they activate, and how you can use them authentically to create genuine connections. By the end of this video, you'll understand the art and science behind effective texting, and you'll have 5 proven messages that you can adapt to your own style and personality. And if you find today's insights valuable, I'd love your support. Through Super Thanks, it helps me dive deeper into relationship psychology and bring you more research-backed content like this. Your support is what makes this community thrive and allows me to spend time uncovering these powerful communication strategies. But before we dive in, I want you to think about this. What's the difference between a text that gets ignored and one that gets an immediate response? The answer might surprise you, and it has everything to do with understanding male psychology and the power of strategic communication. The foundation: understanding male psychology in digital communication. Before we explore these 5 game-changing texts, let's talk about what makes men tick when it comes to digital communication. Men are naturally drawn to messages that are direct, intriguing, and leave room for their imagination to fill in the blanks. They respond to texts that make them feel important, valued, and curious about what comes next. The key difference between younger and older women in texting isn't just experience, it's confidence. Older women have learned that authenticity trumps games every time, and they're not afraid to be direct about what they want. They understand that the best texts aren't manipulative tricks, but rather genuine expressions of interest that spark natural curiosity. Research in communication psychology shows that messages which create what we call curiosity gaps, where just enough information is revealed to intrigue, but not enough to satisfy, are the most effective at generating responses. This is exactly what our 5 texts accomplish. Text number 1. Quick question, and I need your honest opinion. The psychology behind it. This text is pure psychological gold because it activates multiple powerful triggers simultaneously. First, it creates urgency with the word quick, suggesting that this won't take much of his time but needs immediate attention. Second, it appeals to his expertise by asking for his honest opinion, which makes him feel valued and important. Men are natural problem solvers and advisors. When you position yourself as someone who values his perspective, you're tapping into a fundamental aspect of masculine psychology. This text makes him feel like you see him as someone whose judgment matters, which is incredibly flattering and compelling. Why it works so well. The genius of this message lies in its vagueness. You're not actually asking the question in the initial text, you're just letting him know that you have one. This creates what psychologists call a curiosity gap. His mind will start wondering what you could possibly want his opinion on, and that curiosity will drive him to respond. The phrase honest opinion is particularly powerful because it suggests that you trust him enough to give you real feedback, not just what you want to hear. This implies a level of intimacy and trust that most casual acquaintances don't have. How to use it authentically. The key to using this text effectively is to actually have a genuine question ready. Maybe you're deciding between 2 vacation destinations, considering a career change, or trying to choose between different options for something you're purchasing. The question should be something where his opinion would actually be valuable to you. When he responds, asking what the question is, follow up with something specific and personal. For example, I'm thinking about taking a pottery class or a cooking class this fall. You seem like someone who tries new things. Which do you think would be more fun? This shows that you've been paying attention to his personality and value, his perspective. Text number 2. Okay, I have to tell you something you won't believe. The psychology behind it. This text is like psychological catnip for men because it combines mystery, importance, and exclusivity all in one message. The phrase, "you won't believe," suggests that whatever you're about to share is extraordinary, unusual, or surprising. It positions him as someone special enough to be trusted with this unbelievable information. The word "okay" at the beginning creates a sense of urgency and decision, as if you've been debating whether to tell him this and have finally made up your mind. This suggests that whatever you're about to share is significant enough that you had to think about it, why it works so well. Human beings are naturally curious creatures, and men are no exception. When you tell someone you have something they won't believe, you're essentially challenging their perception of reality. This creates immediate intrigue because our brains are wired to seek resolution when presented with incomplete information. The text also creates a sense of intimacy and special connection. By saying, "I have to tell you," you're positioning him as someone important enough to be confided in. This makes him feel chosen and special, which is a powerful psychological motivator. How to use it authentically. This text works best when you actually have something interesting, unusual, or surprising to share. It could be a funny coincidence, an unexpected opportunity, a surprising piece of news, or even a realization about something you both discussed previously. For example, you might follow up with, "I just ran into your doppelganger at the coffee shop. I mean, it was uncanny. He even ordered the same drink you always get." Or, "I just got offered a job in the city you grew up in. What are the odds of that?" The key is that it should be something that would genuinely surprise or interest him. Text number 3. I just thought about you because... The psychology behind it. This text is incredibly powerful because it accomplishes several psychological objectives at once. First, it tells him that he's been on your mind when he wasn't even around, which is deeply flattering. Second, it creates curiosity about what specifically reminded you of him. Third, it opens the door for connection by sharing a specific association. The phrase, "I just thought about you," is particularly effective because it suggests spontaneity and authenticity. It's not planned or calculated. It's a natural response to something in your environment that made you think of him. This feels genuine and organic, which is exactly what creates real connection. Why it works so well. Men, despite what popular culture might suggest, deeply enjoy being thought about and remembered. When someone takes the time to reach out because something reminded them of you, it feels incredibly personal and meaningful. It shows that you're not just thinking about him when you're together, but that he's made enough of an impression to come to mind during your daily life. The "because" creates a curiosity gap that compels him to respond. He wants to know what specifically triggered the thought of him, and this knowledge will give him insight into how you perceive him and what associations you have with him. How to use it authentically. This text works best when you have a specific, genuine trigger for thinking about him. Maybe you saw his favorite movie advertised, heard a song he recommended, passed a restaurant he mentioned, or experienced something that reminded you of a conversation you had. Examples of effective follow-ups. "I just thought about you because I'm at this bookstore and they have an entire section dedicated to that author you love." Or, "I just thought about you because I tried that restaurant you recommended and you were absolutely right about the pasta." The key is to make the connection specific and personal. It should be something that shows you were paying attention to him and that your interactions have made enough of an impression to come to mind in relevant situations. Text number 4. I need a partner in crime for activity. You in? The psychology behind it. This text is brilliant because it combines adventure, partnership, and a direct invitation all in one message. The phrase partner in crime is playful and suggests that you're looking for someone to join you in something fun, exciting, or slightly mischievous. It positions the two of you as a team, which creates an immediate sense of connection and shared purpose. The direct question, "You in?" is confident and straightforward. It doesn't beat around the bush or leave room for ambiguity. This kind of direct communication is refreshing and appealing to men who often appreciate clarity over subtlety. Why it works so well. Men are drawn to women who are confident enough to make the first move and direct enough to ask for what they want. This text demonstrates both qualities while also presenting an opportunity for shared experience, which is one of the strongest foundations for building connection. The phrase partner in crime also adds an element of excitement and fun. It suggests that whatever you're inviting him to will be enjoyable and memorable. This makes the invitation more appealing than a simple, "Want to hang out?" How to use it authentically. This text works best when you have a specific activity in mind that would genuinely benefit from having company. It could be something adventurous like hiking or trying a new restaurant, something cultural like visiting a museum or attending a concert, or something playful like mini-golf or a wine tasting. Examples: "I need a partner in crime for this new escape room downtown. You in?" Or, "I need a partner in crime for this cooking class I want to try. You in?" The activity should be something that would be more fun with two people and something that aligns with interests you know he has or might have. Text number 5. Full disclosure. You crossed my mind today. Thought you should know. The psychology behind it. This text is the most direct and vulnerable of all 5, and that's exactly what makes it so powerful. The phrase full disclosure suggests honesty and transparency, which are qualities that create trust and intimacy. It's a mature, confident way of expressing interest without being overly dramatic or demanding. The message is straightforward about the fact that you've been thinking about him, but it doesn't put pressure on him to respond in any particular way. The phrase "thought you should know" is casual and doesn't demand reciprocation, which actually makes it more likely that he'll want to engage. Why it works so well. This text works because it's authentic and mature. It's not playing games or trying to manipulate. It's simply sharing a genuine feeling in a straightforward way. Men appreciate this kind of honesty because it removes the guesswork and allows them to respond authentically as well. The vulnerability in admitting that you've been thinking about someone is attractive because it shows confidence and emotional maturity. It takes courage to be this direct, and that courage is appealing. How to use it authentically. This text should only be used when you genuinely have been thinking about him and feel moved to share that fact. It's not something to use strategically or manipulatively. It's something to use when you feel a genuine connection and want to express it honestly. The beauty of this text is that it doesn't require a specific follow-up or agenda. It's simply sharing a feeling, and the conversation can develop naturally from there. It opens the door for him to share his own thoughts and feelings, which can deepen the connection between you. The science behind why these texts work. Now that we've explored each text individually, let's talk about the psychological principles that make all of them effective. Understanding these principles will help you use these texts more effectively and even create your own variations. Curiosity gap theory. Each of these texts creates what psychologists call a curiosity gap. They provide just enough information to intrigue but not enough to satisfy. This gap creates psychological tension that the brain seeks to resolve, making a response more likely. Social proof and validation. Several of these texts make the recipient feel chosen, valued, or special. This taps into our fundamental need for social validation, and makes the interaction feel more meaningful and important. Reciprocity principle. When you share something personal or vulnerable, it creates a psychological pressure for the other person to reciprocate. This is why texts that express genuine feeling or share personal thoughts are so effective at creating deeper connections. Autonomy and choice. The most effective texts give the recipient the freedom to choose how to respond. They don't demand specific reactions or put pressure on the other person, which makes them more likely to engage willingly. Common mistakes to avoid. While these texts are highly effective, there are some common mistakes that can undermine their power. Over-explaining. Don't follow up immediately with more information. Let the curiosity gap do its work. Being inauthentic. Don't use these texts unless you genuinely have something to back them up. Authenticity is crucial, overusing them. These texts lose their power if used too frequently. Use them sparingly and strategically. Ignoring his response style. Pay attention to how he communicates and match his energy level and communication style. Having hidden agendas. Don't use these texts to manipulate or control. Use them to create genuine connection. Adapting these texts to your personality. The most important thing about using these texts is making them feel authentic to who you are. Here's how to adapt each one to different personality types. For the direct communicator, use these texts as they are, but feel free to be even more specific in your follow-ups. For the playful personality, add humor or playful elements to make them feel more like you. For the intellectual, focus on texts that involve opinions, discussions, or shared interests. For the adventurous spirit, emphasize the texts that involve activities and shared experiences. For the emotional connector, use the more vulnerable texts that involve sharing feelings and thoughts. Building long-term connection. While these texts are excellent for starting conversations and creating intrigue, remember that lasting relationships are built on consistency, authenticity, and mutual respect. Use these texts as tools to open doors, but focus on building genuine connection through ongoing communication. The goal isn't to manipulate or control, but to create opportunities for authentic interaction. The best relationships develop naturally, when both people feel comfortable being themselves and expressing their genuine interest in each other. The power of confidence. What makes older women so effective at texting isn't just the words they use. It's the confidence behind those words. Confidence comes from knowing who you are, what you want, and being comfortable with both. When you text from a place of genuine self-assurance, that energy comes through in your communication. Confidence also means being okay with whatever response you get. If someone doesn't respond the way you hope, it doesn't reflect on your worth or desirability. It simply means that this particular connection isn't the right fit, and that's perfectly okay. Final thoughts on effective texting. The most powerful texts are those that come from a place of genuine interest and authentic expression. While these 5 texts are proven to be effective, they work best when they reflect your real thoughts and feelings. Use them as starting points, but don't be afraid to adapt them to your own voice and style. Remember that the goal of texting isn't to get a response. It's to create connection. Sometimes the best connections develop slowly, and sometimes they're immediate. Trust the process and focus on being your authentic self in all your communications. So there you have it, 5 powerful texts that men simply can't ignore, and more importantly, the psychology behind why they work so effectively. Remember, these aren't magic spells or manipulation tactics. They're authentic communication tools that work because they tap into fundamental human psychology and create genuine opportunities for connection. I want to hear from you in the comments below. Have you used any of these texts before? Which one resonates most with your communication style? And if you try any of these, come back and let us know how it went. Your experiences could help other women watching this video. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and share it with a friend who might benefit from these insights. And if you want more content about authentic communication, confident dating, and building genuine connections, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss a new video. Remember, the most attractive quality you can have is authenticity. Use these texts as tools to express your genuine interest and create real connections, but always stay true to who you are. Confidence is attractive, authenticity is magnetic, and the combination of both is absolutely irresistible. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video where we'll be diving into how to handle the responses to these texts and keep the conversation flowing naturally. Until then, text with confidence, communicate with authenticity, and remember, you have so much to offer the right person.